Who this?
Bagley here. How did everything go earlier?
You know me, smooth. Got a new soldier. So, what next?
You're listening to The Bug.
May cause nausea, vomiting and headaches. Hello Britain, this is The Bug, the show that holds up a mirror to the world and smashes itself on the head with it in despair. I'm Andy, joining me, as always, Alice. And
I deny everything.
It's just a good state of existence. Some good news, at last. There are no medicine shortages, according to the government, none at all. There have been various allegations about that. It turns out they are all fake news, trademark. There are none. There are no shortages of medicine. Don't take it from me. I'm not a medical expert. Take it from our beloved government. It's fine. In fact, I'm going to read between the lines here and actually say there's probably there's too much medicine, if anything. Just medicine. You can't move for medicine. In fact, just this morning, our doctor bought some Thorgren into a bowl for breakfast and out-tumbled a 12-month course of immunosuppressants, corticosteroids, and anti-retrofungal neurodilatory estrogen spermatotropic fruit pastels.
The people claiming there are medical shortages are probably high on lots of medicine that they've been. I for one believe that there are no medical shortages, Andy. Just last week I went in with a broken arm and they suggested it might just be extreme period pain and prescribed me a drink of water and an astrology chart.
We can't be too far away from them just prescribing stiff upper lip like they did.
My uncle had a leg removed due to diabetes. They halved his insulin because they said there was less of him to be diabetic.
So, anyway, people don't believe what you read or hear about there not being enough medical drugs to go around. It's not true. It's hospital hogwash, it's pharmaceutical flim-flam, it's medical mendacity, it's Hippocratic humbug, it's nonsensical narcotics.
What? No hope in hell of us getting into Tower of London. Security is tight.
I like to help, fam, but now I just caught a whiff now. With all the CTOS cameras, it'd take him less than 5 to ID me. I ain't risking my pretty face.
We need an Albion insider for our caper, one who's willing to turn coat. I've reached out to a contact who works in a nearby pub. Where better to find a bleakly disillusioned anti-hero numbing their conscience with drink, but secretly desperate for redemption. I've let our contact know what we're in the market for, and she's nearby.
Every day there's a gunfight on the news. A bit of a chicken and egg question. Don't know what to do.
God, that's revolting. Let's do this.
God, look.
What was that?
Shit! It looks angry! What?
Lock it down! That's it! Using lethal force.
Calling additional units.
Being deployed to apprehend the suspect.
Halt! Failure to comply will result in forceful intervention.
Backup at my current location.
Seems that manky little nerd was the one who kept diverting relief supplies away from the Burrow to keep everyone in line for Albion. These days, you can do a lot more evil with a spreadsheet than a drone fleet.
Great.
That was their last known possession. I'll have a look. Jesus fucking Christ!
Send me reinforcements.
Investigation underway. Engage
Wagwan.
You lot certainly know how to pick your targets. You do know that Albion have set up their headquarters in there, right?
Trust me, this ain't my idea of a good time. But Cass is going to announce some kind of new project or a weapons thing. DedSec got to know about this shit, or we're doomed.
Fucking Nigel Cass. You're right. Nothing good can come of this. Luckily, I hear loads of sob stories working in a pub. And near this place, quite a few from Albion are dissatisfied with the status quo. You turn on the charm, and I'm sure you can get one to join the good guys. Even got a candidate in mind.
Interesting. Send me their details, please.
I'll have Bagley push it along. Good luck, love.
We're aware of an Albion employee who might be approachable.
So wait, is any Albion mercenary going to actually switch sides?
They're jackbooted thugs who regularly murder civilians. If finding a disenchanted employee is really that difficult, humanity's much worse off than I thought. It would also be quite useful to have someone on the inside.
For however long that lasts, Nigel's real good at sniffing out spies.
Personal experience speaking?
Yeah, not really in a sharing mood right now, fam.
We are not helpless, you hear me? If you want things to change, there's something you can do.
Are you with DedSec? Because I could use your assistance.
We can try. What's the problem?
My friend has a rare medical condition. Unfortunately, with the NHS in disarray, they haven't been able to get treatment in months. We were out of options until this Clan Kelly doctor said they'd help for a price. I didn't know what else to do, so I paid them.
I'm listening.
That bastard. The drugs worked, but it turned out they were addictive. The second my friend was hooked, the doctor inflated the price.
Bombaclot! Don't worry, we'll get your friend's medicine and we'll sort out this mess.
Leave me be.
Well, this quote-unquote doctor is a real winner. He was struck off the medical register for gross practice last year, and now he's a freelance mob surgeon. Nice work if you can get it.
Can you track him down, Bagley?
I am quite literally always tracking everyone down. Pushing you his coordinates now.
This is London Calling. You're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they need to know. With me, Tash. It's hard to believe that there can be shortages of food and medicine in an advanced country like ours, and yet here we are. Those old government promises of adequate food turn out to be just another lie. Today we're short of basic foodstuffs and vital medical supplies. Hundreds have already died of conditions that could be easily cured. The black market means that criminal gangs like Clan Kelly roll the cities. And Prime Minister Dev Hassani isn't even around to pretend to care. How do we go from a consumer paradise to a place of empty shelves and fighting for supplies? What turns a land of plenty into a wild west of hoarding, food battles and black market barons? We protect everyone who comes on the project by keeping their identity. Here's veteran political reporter Ian on the power behind shortages.
Yeah, I mean, what was the first thing that happened when Britain sealed itself off? First stuff that stopped from coming in was fresh food. I mean, we could live without the fresh food. I mean, everyone's quality of life got instantly worse, but we could live without it. The most damaging part was when the radioactive isotopes stopped coming in. Now, radioactive isotopes, that's what we use.
The Clan Kelly doctor you're looking for is close by. Seems he's got a laptop with him too, presumably with a folder somewhere on it labelled Crimes.
I just have to keep my eyes and ears open.
There's the laptop.
There's something there.
Laptop scraped. Get to safety while I analyze the data. I found them at a warehouse where experimental drugs are being stored. I'm sure Mary Kelly won't mind if you nick a few.
This is London Calling. You're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. With me, Tash. It's hard to believe that there have been shortages of food and medicine in an advanced country like ours, and yet here we are. Those old government promises of adequate food turn out to be just another lie. Today we're short of basic foodstuffs and vital medical supplies. Hundreds have already died of conditions that could be easily cured. The black market means that criminal gangs like Clan Kelly run our cities. And Prime Minister Dev Hassani isn't even around to pretend to care. How do we go from consumer paradise to a place of empty shelves and fighting for supplies? What turns a land of plenty into a wild west of hoarding, food battles and black market barons? We protect everyone who comes on the podcast by keeping their identities a secret. Here's veteran political reporter Ian on the power behind this.
I'm detecting a vehicle nearby with at least 2 years' worth of treatments inside. That's more than enough to wean our contact's friend off the treatment.
Say no more.
There's the vehicle with the drugs in it. Try not to destroy it.
Got the vehicle. What next?
I found a safe location where our friend can pick it up. Sending you the coordinates now.
This is London Calling. You're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. With me, Tash. It's hard to believe that there can be shortages of food and medicine in an advanced country like ours, and yet here we are. Those old government promises of adequate food turn out to be just another lie. Today we're short of basic foodstuffs and vital medical supplies. Hundreds have already died of conditions that could be easily cured. The black market means that criminal gangs like Clan Kelly run our cities. And Prime Minister Dev Hassani isn't even around to pretend to care. How do we go from a consumer paradise to a place of empty shelves and fighting for supplies? What turns a land of plenty into a wild west of hoarding, food battles and black market barons? We protect everyone who comes on the podcast by keeping their identities a secret. Here's veteran political reporter Ian on the power behind shortages.
Look, I mean, what was the first thing that happened when Britain sealed itself off? Like, the first stuff that got stopped from coming in was fresh food. I mean, we could live without the fresh food. I mean, everyone's quality of life got instantly worse, but we could live without it. The most damaging part was when the radioactive isotopes stopped coming in. Now, radioactive isotopes, that's what we use in cancer screening and cancer treatment.
They could be anywhere.
It has a short half-life. Technetium used to save hundreds of thousands of lives just by screening for cancer, let alone testing for cancer. But that stuff has a half-life of 66 hours. As soon as those walls went up, there was just no time to bring it into the country, and that is when people started dying. And then the medicines. The thing is, there's loads of medicines that you just can't stockpile. There was a moment before it took place when actually there was some effort to try and stockpile some of the medicines. There was some things that could be done. For a lot of it, there was simply nothing that could be done. We had a major problem with drugs for schizophrenia. So we saw such an uptick in the kind of attacks you saw in the street and people suffering on their own because they didn't have the mental health drugs, because those drugs simply couldn't be stockpiled. We eventually found the same thing with foods that weren't produced in the UK. And the trouble with the UK was, we don't produce our own food. We never have. For hundreds of years, we produced under half of our own food. So as soon as those walls went up, we started having significant material problems in the country. I mean, Britain always told itself it had this national myth, right, that it would, because it got through the war, that it could go through any kind of hardship. I mean, that wasn't really the case. Actually, people during the war were far more frightened than some of this historical stuff makes out. Now, what did we see? People don't want to go through this. They were desperate for the things that they had before, and they were scared. So they went to the black market. The same thing that always happens. And where did the growth of Clan Kelly come from? It came from people wanting the things that they could previously get legitimately and could now only get through the black market, funneling funds towards criminality. And from there, we got to the situation we have now of this basic war between criminals and security that seems to dominate what's going on out there on the streets.
Nothing shakes people's faith in capitalism quite as much as when capitalism fails to deliver. Here's underground writer and analyst Alfie, The Politics of Poverty.
I think what we've come to now is a realisation that capitalism has essentially failed. I mean, the one key promise of capitalism that it makes to its citizens is that there will be surplus, that we will have plenty, and that's the whole logic for...
Job done. Your drugs are somewhere safe. Bagley will give you the location. I hope this helps your friend.
Anyway, I owe you a favour now.
DedSec crew is always looking to grow. You want to roll with us?
Fine. I'm in.
We have an Albion operative on our roster. We should let them know they're needed.
This is London Calling. You're listening.
Bless up! Our DedSec family is growing.
Yes, well, I'm ready to help however I can.
That's what I'm talking about.
Nigel Cass's meeting will begin soon. Approach the Tower of London when you're ready.
Auto drive now enabled.
This
I don't mean to alarm you, but one of your cohorts has been violently kidnapped. Actually, maybe I do mean to alarm you.
Shit.
Quite. Fortunately, I took a look through our ever-expanding enemies list and I think I've identified the culprit. Finding him should lead us to our missing operative.
Consider it done.
Today we're short of basic foodstuffs and vital medical supplies. Hundreds have already died of conditions that could be easily cured. The black market means that criminal gangs like Clan Kelly run our cities. And Prime Minister Dev Hassani isn't even around to pretend to care. How do we go from a consumer paradise to a place of empty shelves and fighting for supplies? What turns a land of plenty into a wild west of hoarding, food battles and black market barons? We protect everyone who comes on the podcast by keeping their identities a secret. Here's veteran political reporter Ian on the power behind shortages.
I mean, what was the first thing that happened when Britain sealed itself off? The first stuff that got stopped from coming in was fresh food. I mean, we could live without fresh food. I mean, everyone's quality of life got instantly worse, but we could live without it. The most damaging part was when the radioactive isotopes stopped coming in. Now, radioactive isotopes, that's what we use in cancer screening, cancer treatment. Now, that stuff, it has a short half-life. Technetium used to save hundreds of thousands of lives just by screening for cancer, let alone testing for cancer. But that stuff has a half-life of 66 hours. As soon as those walls went
Jesus
up,
Christ,
there was just no
serious
time to bring it into the
arse.
country, and that is when people started dying. And then the medicines. The thing is, there's loads of medicines that you just can't stockpile. There was a moment before it took place when actually there was some effort to try and stockpile some of the medicines. There was some things that could be done. For a lot of it, there was simply nothing that could be done. We had a major problem with drugs for schizophrenia. So we saw such an uptick in the kind of attacks that you saw in the street and people suffering on their own and they didn't have the mental health drugs because those drugs simply couldn't be stockpiled. We eventually found the same thing with foods that weren't produced in the UK. And the trouble with the UK was...
If we're lucky, word hasn't spread that you've hung up your jackboots. Just try to put on your meek, harmless, broken by the system face. Oh, and don't forget your uniform.
Right. Resuming my normal duties.
Looking sharp. Your ex-colleagues won't pay any attention to you unless you let them take a close look.
Are we pulling just anyone off the street?
A word of caution now we're inside. Any disturbance in here and Nigel Cass will surely cancel his meeting. Avoid being detected by your former colleagues or this operation is a bust.
Nigel won't have anything important on this floor.
You're quite knowledgeable about Cass, aren't you?
Yeah. I was Albion too, if you hadn't twigged to that. Me and Cass were close once. Looked up to him. He was bigger than life, fam. Literally a tech genius. And I was just a gearhead kid. I wanted to be like him. That's why I joined up.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Didn't find out he was a murderous prick until later.
Get this muck out of my inbox.
Get off your phone, or we'll both get bollocked.
All clear? Negative. Situation under control.
I dare say it sounds like it's very much a passion project for Nigel Cass, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is. Albion has always cared about education.
Something's not right here.
And of course, in fact,
They're down boots before coming in. I haven't got enough to do. Dealing with construction.
But it's just something I don't like about it. I'm not sure if I heard someone saying dead set.
They better not be just a bunch of terrorists ready to have morals.
This door clearly requires a security pass.
Well, that's just great.
Use one of the nearby computers to create your forgery.
Be careful. You don't want to know what Nigel does with trespassers.
You been up there lately? There are some parts of this city that need a good working over with some heavy boots. You understand?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But there's always an element that's going to resist all.
Sure, but I thought you'd taken care of them now.
You mean dead swords? I've heard some talk on the street that they may be back in operation. I'm not.
It'll take some time for the forgery to be ready. To keep you occupied, I dragged up still images and a recording from an internal investigation into Cass Sr.'s death.
Show me.
Internal Psych Assessment AS001 Subject Cass Nigel. Mr. Cass experienced a deeply traumatic event when he witnessed the murder of his father, Gareth Cass, CEO of Albion. He began exhibiting symptoms soon after what he frequently described as the random event. Mr. Cass's initial symptoms included insomnia, paranoia, distorted blame, and recurring flashbacks. However, he appears to have channeled his anger and self-described powerlessness into his work to ensure that Albion become, quote, a mechanism for preventing unpredictable violence. It seems somewhat of a mania, edging on psychosis. For me, this raises concerns about Mr. Cass's fitness to run a multinational security company. But I cannot, at this time, make any recommendation beyond continued monitoring, especially considering that I have been asked to close this file.
Grand. They put someone incapable of processing their emotional baggage in charge of our security. Just grand.
Yeah, well, Nigel's never close to anyone but his dad. And me, I guess. Never had much faith in people, really.
Well, the pass is ready, but rough. If this resistance thing doesn't work out, I doubt you'll make a living as a document forger. Let's give it a go anyway. Nigel Cass awaits.
A couple of men didn't show up to work.
Just adds a whole new dimension.
Yeah, no,
Even the cheap stuff.
No, I did do that. Yeah, I left her at home. No, she's in the kitchen on the right.
How's it going?
Mr. Cass, tell you what to do. It will do you no good to question his director.
I'm not questioning his
How are you
bloody
getting on with
direction.
those metrics?
I'm wondering
They're
why
not
we're not
coming
sent
up
out
to
against
wouldn't do to miss it.
He's presenting to the stakeholders right now.
I know, but if I mess this up, then the whole project is...
Welcome to Project Themis. Our new autonomous drones. These drones can identify, isolate, and terminate threats before they can do harm. They can go anywhere, see everything. They could kill a man alone in an alley or in a crowd of hundreds with perfect precision. Themis drones can do what humans have always struggled to. Act immediately and decisively. Without your support, I couldn't stand here and tell you, I promise you, that with the launch of Project Themis, London will be the first city in the world to be made truly safe.
Mr. Cass, I was hoping you called us all in here today to discuss the ethical issues.
No, it's all right. The Commissioner cares, as we all do. I admire his passion and his dedication. Let's talk ethics.
Well, for one, Themis goes far beyond Albion's mandate. We really should have more government consultation.
I see. Delay the launch so that we can debate and assess the details.
We're missing the human element here. I can get the Defense Minister on the line right now.
Well, if you feel you must. It's the human element that got us into this. No more debate, delay, indecision. Understand this. I will not allow anyone, not even myself, to jeopardize Themis. Now, will our friends at Tidus be ready? You are the cornerstone of the project after all. Do you need to consult any outside parties?
No. We'll be ready.
And just in time. Criminals running our streets. Illegals threatening our families. The police commissioner himself. Assassinated by terrorists. Decisiveness is hard. But here's the best part. Once this decision is made, no more will be required of you.
Our funding's come in.
Attention, a building-wide security sweep has been initiated due to document breach.
I warned you about that forgery. Your uniform will help. Don't let them get a close look at you.
Bagley, I need an exit. Quickly!
The catacombs, fam.
Bollocks! They must have got away.
You made me do this. What? Wrong move. Now you're mine. You just say you won't get one. Where's our target? How did...
Look around! Find no stone unturned!
Saw Nigel in action in there, didn't you? Man can be very, persuasive.
He knows how to get his way. And he wants this Themis project launched post-haste. I doubt that's good news for London. Shite. Shit. I don't like this. At all. What was that?
Fucking hell. Albion's top secret project is an automated killing machine. And it looks like Cass is almost ready to launch. We have to get Themis out of his hands.
I'll prepare a briefing. Will we see you there, Hamish?
Pretty face, not risking, remember? But patch me in. You and me got some scheming to do, Bagley.
Fuck me, not again. Now we're talking.
I'll start the briefing whenever you're ready. Here's what we know about Nigel Cass. He's rolling out something called Project Themis. The lack of information on its own is worrisome, but what little we do know is Cass wishes to remove the human element from law enforcement.
We also know he's partnered with Titus, which is never good. Titus does other work with Albion. Nasty shit like autonomous weapons, human targeting algorithms.
So Titus is our best lead to fill in the blanks on the secret project, but their security is notoriously difficult to crack. So Hamish has proposed an intriguing solution.
Albion's been working on a new microdrone, something my contact told me about. That shit's not even in production yet, but if we get the plans, we can manufacture our own.
To bypass Titus security.
Exactly. They're weird as fuck. Supposed to do maintenance on Albion's other drones, but the smallness of them means they can slip into places nothing else can.
Well, there we have it. Our next step is to infiltrate the Albion drone manufacturing lab and get our hands on schematics.
And then you lot will have a fun little gadget to break into Titus. Love it. I'll shoot you the location. Be careful. Albion doesn't like to share his toys.